Sometimes I wish people knew how difficult these videos are to make with a baby who needs my attention a lot of the time. I would never get a message out though if I let that be an excuse for me. To be who you are unapologetically is a superpower, and not a lot of people use it like I thought that they did. Because imagine knowing the truth about who you are and you try to tell people and they either don't listen or just look at you like you've lost your mind. That is something that I have faced my entire life, and the lesson for me has been in learning to stand alone. There's great power, and not power because you need to wield it for your own selfish purposes, but to help empower other people, to give that away, to disperse it instead of keeping it in this container. So last year when I started the podcast, I thought I was just, getting something off of my chest. And halfway through it, like through the first year, I was like, well, I'm just this nut job who's on the internet talking about doing mushrooms while pregnant. And, slowly but surely, other people kind of started coming into my awareness that we're also having the conversation. And it became really empowering for me. But it's also been a really confusing time. There have been points where I just wanted to disassociate because I had no one I could share and connect with about this. And I figured I was just crazy and should have just kept my mouth shut the first time. So here we are a year later. I'm raising two very healthy, beautiful, and intelligent children. It's not easy. I am not the perfect mother. I am a mother, though, and their mother, and that's what gives me the courage to do what I'm doing. So the past couple weeks have been a little bit difficult, a lot bit difficult, actually. And if you hear, baby, they've been difficult because it's been a lot emotionally, transitioning, learning, and each day brings something you never quite understand why it's happening until, some time later where you can say, oh, this is why this is happening. This is why I'm going through this. This is why this had to happen. And now I'm entering this new phase that I'm really I won't say scared to talk about, but very hesitant, because I know this is going to pivot me in a whole nother direction that I don't know that people are necessarily ready to hear, but it's not my job to wait around for them. It's just it is my duty to initiate this conversation. So I had an experience with DMT a few days ago, and I have once. And as someone who has utilized a lot of different sacred medicines, I will say this one was like catapulting me into another world, outside of my awareness. It showed me a lot of different things that I was not expecting, because I've read quite a few stories on what people's experiences have been like. I've heard stories, and this was nothing like my experience at all. The reason why I felt called to do it, I don't know. Things have just been transitioning in a weird way this year. Nothing like I expected, but I guess it's all part of where I'm going on my path. And so I want to explain how this went in the best way I can, because it's really hard to do with words and get people to understand without being written off as someone who's just hallucinating because they're doing hard drugs or something. That's not what this was. Because this was a key and a portal to the spirit realm, one that I know is there, but that I don't see visually very often. And so this was the first time that I've ever broken through. And to break through is like when you kind of peek around the door and you see what's out there, but to break through is for the door to bust wide open. And this was the second time out of I did it 3 times actually over the course of a week. And the second time was the time where I heard someone from another... I heard someone speaking to me very clearly, very loudly. I was given visions, like shamanic visions. And it's weird because I've been called a shaman over some time, but I think that's just like a braggy term, so I don't like using it because I also have not been trained under anyone in particular. These have just been like personal experiences. And the things that I saw, no one would believe, even though it's put in plain sight through the media that we consume, through the stories that we're told. Our history is put right in front of our faces, and most people ignore it. They get very focused on separation and division, and it's like, how do you save people from that? And so this experience that I had only lasted like 20 minutes, but when I tell you I was sobbing, like tears pouring from my eyes, baby. I was surrendering on my knees, like, yes. I experienced this kind of surrender I had never experienced before in my life, and because of that, it shifted me out of my body and into this other world, this other sense of awareness about what I was doing and why it was happening. And some of the messages that I heard, I'm not going to say everything, but I was just encouraged to be brave. It's really hard to be brave. What I'm doing is bravery, and I don't always look at it that way because I don't necessarily get the responses from people who may or may not see my content or my shows, but doing this alone, like regardless of what people may think of me, is a very hard act to do. But when I don't use that power, the power of my voice, I might as well be giving it away. I might as well have a muzzle on. Most people will not tell you the truth about what's going on, and I'm not even going to get in that today. I want to say that doing DMT gave me access and entryway to start a new practice in my life, to level up. Like, when I mean like an upgrade, I mean like an upgrade from an iPhone 12 to an iPhone 15. I don't even think the 15's out yet, but the software update was real, and it was powerful, and it was scary. And honestly, days later, I still don't know what to do with the information. Like, I know when I don't know. But what I also can tell you is this: the colliding forces in the world are making a lot more sense to me. The earth could not operate without an energy charge, and we essentially are that energy charge. We are the power conductors that create how this world is run. And for a really long time now, it has been run on the negative and lower vibrational energy of people. And most of them are not aware of it, and they don't know it. And when someone doesn't know who they are, that's the easiest way to take advantage of them, because you can make them believe whatever you want. And when I got to that point of surrender and I was shown who I was, like, I'm going to tell you right now, I still don't believe who that is, like, to a degree. Like, I know that they're telling me the truth, but I'm also like, that part of my brain that's still being controlled is like, yeah, you were just seeing shit. That's not real. That's not who you are. Like, you're just a mom. You're just you. You don't have a greater purpose. This is what you're here to do. You're just creating content for an app. Like, this is nothing. And that's a complete lie. There's so many deep concepts that go into who I am and why I'm doing what I'm doing. Luckily, I have like 1 or 2 people in my life who I can kind of give some of this information to. But I will say, I was being my normal self and having a conversation with my father the other day. And he told me, like, he's like, be careful. And I'm like, why are you telling me to be careful? And I realized he tells me to be careful for the same reasons I tell my son to be careful when he's climbing on something. because as a parent, you're afraid your kid is going to get hurt if they venture off like into new areas or do something that you've never done or something that you've deemed as dangerous or scary. And you know, I asked him when he kept telling me to be careful. I said, well, what's the other option? He's like, they're not going to like what you're talking about. They're not going to like what you're saying. I'm like, what's the other option? Be silent? Don't awaken people? Stay asleep? I could, but my life would feel meaningless. It would feel like I'm just here to be on autopilot. Look, what is that? I'm not here to run my life on autopilot. I'm here to break out of the system and help break other people out of the system. But how do you do that when we're operating on iOS 2.1 when we're supposed to be on iOS 95? Like that's really hard. And the more that people get dragged into the emotions and the fear and the resistance, it becomes that much easier for them to be controlled. And these were all messages that I've received just over the past few days after doing that. I've come into a lot more awareness than that, but nothing that I really want to share right this second. But I'm posting this episode on the 5th of May because 5555 is about change, and things are about to change. They're about to get shaky. They're about to get weird. They're about to get uncomfortable. But that's a part of like my life. And I think that I've gotten used to that, but in the most uncomfortable way, because it's like, okay, Taylor, if you're going to make this choice to tell people about what's going on, the things you've seen, the visions that you've had, you have to be aware that a lot of them are not going to listen to you. They're going to be resistant because they're comfortable with the information that they've been given, and they receive that as truth. And because of that truth, you know, you can't wake everybody up right now. But for the ones that do listen to you, they're going to follow what you're saying. Not follow you, but follow what you're saying. And they're going to need to know what to do with this information. And because of that, I have to serve as a guide. It's funny, the movies that have even been coming up for me lately. Me and my siblings used to watch Prince of Egypt when I was younger. And I'm not going to bring like the whole Bible story into it, but like I was watching the scene where Moses goes and speaks to the burning bush. And he's like, who am I to lead these people? And that's kind of how I feel. Like I call myself a leader, and then I'm like, well, what are you doing leading? Go sit down somewhere. Like nobody wants to hear all that. And then I hear like this voice saying, do it anyway. I don't care if they look at you like you're crazy, do it, because you know how few people actually have the courage to stand up and lead, to do what is truth, to want to spread love and spread knowledge and spread awareness rather than letting people stay trapped. That is a hard job because you're going to always experience some level of resistance, extreme resistance probably. Some other things, one second. Some other things I can tell you is that things are only going to get worse from here before they get better. And I mean that in media, in movies, in technology, all of that. It's going to get a lot worse. And if you don't start to develop some discernment and awareness about your surroundings, the people in your life, the actions that you're taking, the level of centering you're doing with your emotions, then it's going to get hard. It's not going to be easy to break yourself out. I'm not even out yet, to be completely honest, but I'm working on it. Like I'm mapping the area right now. I'm trying to see what's all out there and how to get through and navigate. That's why these movies like The Hunger Games and Maze Runner, like they know, they're telling you what's going on, but nobody pays attention. They're just like, cool movie or cool song. You know, nothing is by coincidence. Nothing is by chance. And you're like a bug in the system. This is why they tell you to be the glitch in the matrix, because imagine you're a computer virus, or not even a virus. You're just a part of this program, and you realize, oh, I'm sentient, I'm feeling, I have power, and you start messing things up in this program that's going on. Like the computer starts to crash. It can no longer handle the web or the matrix that it's been keeping you in, because you've become aware that you are a part of this intricate web. Most people are just on autopilot again. They don't see themselves as someone who has the ability, baby. They're not aware that they have this ability to rise up and rewire a system. They think that this is where it's at. This is all I'm here to do. That's all it will ever be. And so it only takes one. I even got this scene from the movie Prince of Egypt I was just telling you about. He said, it only takes one weak link to break the chain of a mighty dynasty. And I think it can also take one ripple to create a wave. Same thing, but, different ways that you're saying it. And it only takes one person in order to make a real change, because eventually people will see, okay, why is she walking that way when everybody's walking this way? I mean, it's in the matrix. We see it. And I'm going to have to do another unpacking about like all these movies and realizations I'm coming to, and like making these links. I'm probably going to have to write all this out this time, so I don't lose my chain. I kind of just wanted to flow today, because when I flow, it's easier to not get interrupted. But being in flow means I have to accept that there's going to be distractions through this, that my attention is going to get pulled in other places, and learning to remain centered, all that. Learning to remain centered through that is a mother's job. We have to multitask. So if you want me to be completely honest, I think women, especially mothers, are going to be here to help break this matrix, because there have been many great masters that teach people how to stay centered, but being a mom, like, that job is all about staying centered. If you don't stay balanced, you crash and burn. Hey, do you want this? Ooh, what's that? You like that? So, coming and stepping into this awareness and this information is going to be something really powerful, but it's also going to be something that people are resistant to. And I feel like I'm still being really vague. So if you're listening to this episode, you're going to be like, well, what are you talking about? What did you see? What's about to happen? I can't say that right now. What I can say is, don't eat that. What I can say is nothing is by accident. Nothing is by design. Everything is an illusion, which we already knew, but it's time to break that illusion. I'm trying to look for something for you to play with. It's time to break out of the illusion. It's time to make a change, and it starts with us. It starts with having these conversations. It starts with finding ways to be still and centering yourself. It's time to get some education, Tailored Healing Collective, education to liberation. This is what it's about. And once you become aware of yourself, it becomes that much easier to take the next steps. So I'm not going to say too much more today. I'm going to kind of leave it at that, leave it up for interpretation this week, and channel more messages for next week. I'm going to do a job, make it a priority to write more things out this week so that I can convey my lessons without leaving people feeling completely lost and confused. So don't be afraid to be yourself. Be yourself. The truest form that you know how to be, until you know how to be more of that and more of that and more of that, until no one and nothing, no friends, no family members, not society can break that knowing and that sense of who you are and what you're here to do. So I gotta go be a mama now. But this has been the Tailored Healing Collective show podcast. And until next time, let love lead the way. Peace. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to say peace anymore, because that means separation. I'm just going to say love.